Well, hey, on today's show, we have a good friend of mine. He's a creative and videographer here in the Central Florida area. Come on, welcome to the show, Freddie Taylor. Awesome. Well, Freddie, thanks for being on the show, man.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Of course, dude. It's good to have you. You are the first episode being recorded in the new year of 2025.
That is a surprise to me.
Welcome,
awesome.
dude. Welcome. Did you have a good New Year's?
New Year's was cool.
Yeah?
New Year's was cool. Let me rack my brain to remember what we did.
It's 3 weeks ago now.
Yeah,
it has felt already like a lot's happened.
No,
dude. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, yeah. It felt like the longest break from work, even though I was working, possible. But I think we were in Jacksonville for a little bit.
Oh, yeah?
And then we came home, and I think we were sick. And then,
Dude, welcome to the club.
Right back to work.
Everybody, yeah. Are you from Jacksonville?
I'm from Jacksonville, yes.
Okay.
I'm a real Florida boy.
Duval.
Yeah. So I was born in Key West.
Okay.
My parents met in the military.
Yeah.
And then we moved to Jacksonville after like a couple of huge hurricanes in the 90s.
Where you're just like over this.
Yeah. So
I got to get away.
We moved to Jacksonville when I was like 5.
Okay.
Or something. So like since then we've been there.
So you guys went up and spent New Year's with your family up there?
Correct. Yeah. So we did Christmas here with the baby and my mom and Victoria, of course,
That's cool.
my wife.
Do you guys make it all the way to midnight?
No,
New Year's?
No,
Dude,
no.
That is so overrated.
That in like years.
Yeah.
I think I went to bed at like 10.
Honestly, man, I got proven wrong this year because the last couple of years, Madeline and I have always had some baby, you know, like either Leo was little or Elliot was little.
Mm-hmm.
And I've always said like, oh man, one of these years we're going to be able to go back out and like be out till midnight, you know? And then this year we were up visiting family in Pennsylvania, and it just so happened that we were at the house we were staying at the house that hosts all the family events and all that. And so we're like, oh, well, we're staying up. Everybody's staying up till midnight because we're at the hosting house. And dude, it was awful. Like, I mean, our family and spending time with them was great, but staying up till midnight, I was like, dude, this is so overrated.
You guys put the boys down and then tried to stay up? Or?
Yeah, so we put our youngest, Elliot, down, but our oldest, our 3-year-old, was just like, it was just, you know, like a baby can sleep almost through anything, right? Like you can get a good pack and play and a sound machine going and it's gone. But Leo stayed up till 1 a.m., which was the latest he's ever stayed up. And dude was tweaking. He was messed up.
Out.
He was messed up. And he'd also just like watched like so much TV. And so I think his mind was just like a little fried on the whole New Year's.
Dude,
so
my son, he's been every now and then he'll skip his second nap.
Yeah.
Which is why I had Victoria drop me off this time because he hasn't been like sleeping like in his room.
Oh, really?
So usually the car naps are like tried and true.
Oh, yeah.
Bro.
He's not today.
When the other day when he skipped that nap, we tried to put him down at 6. He woke up at 7 and like you said, tweaked out, bro.
Oh,
like he woke up screaming. And
there's such a weird like math to it, dude, of like how to get the perfect amount of sleep throughout the day so that they also sleep at night.
Right.
It's wild, man.
I still don't fully like understand it. Victoria's gonna be really mad if she hears me say that. But in my head, I'm like, man, let's wear them out and let them run around. We barely make it to the park because it's on the opposite side of town. But when we can, we'll try to like take him outside and have him just like burn all that energy. But dude, he's a fireball.
Dude, yeah. My kid's the same way. I feel like we can go, they're really into scooters, like both of them, and they'll go scooter ride and they'll get back and they could have done it like, my son has actually scootered all of like the biggest lake here, Hollingsworth.
Oh, no way.
And he's like, gets home, he's like, cool, what are we doing now? Like, dude, that was what we were supposed to do to get you down.
That was it.
Yeah, that was the day.
How old is he?
He's 3, gonna be 4 in a couple months. Yeah, but He's pretty good at that scooter thing, man. Like his balance is, I'd say it's actually impressive. I want to get him a skateboard, but my wife's a little concerned on that one.
Yeah.
You know, it's piece by piece. He'll get there.
Yeah.
We're trying to.
I had a really bad skateboarding accident when I was in like 4th grade.
Oh, really?
Did
you skateboard a lot, or?
I wasn't even really boarding like that.
Okay.
I was at the tennis court.
Yeah.
At my apartment complex where my dad and my brother stayed.
Mm-hmm.
And my bad.
Oh, you're good.
And I was skating like on my knees, pushing with my hands. I hit a rock and I skid all the way across my face, bro. It was bad. Right before.
So you weren't even like skating. You were doing the thing kids do.
I was doing the thing kids do.
Dude,
I was scarred.
I remember we had this like, we had this hill at my house, and this is just like this might be one of those stories you had to be there, but we had this huge hill at my house growing up, and I was probably like 6 or something, 7, something like that. And just all the neighborhood kids were out, and like everybody had something, and I had just had the skateboard we had in our garage. And so everybody's riding, and I was just like, I got to the top of the hill, and I was like, oh, I have to go down now. Like everybody's doing it. Like I got to look cool, and I got to like ride too, but I had no idea what I was doing.
No good.
Dude, I got halfway down the hill on that board, but I had no idea how to like slow. You know what I mean? How to slow down. So I was just like
beelined it.
Like just beelining straight down the hill. And then I got to a point where I was just wobbling, and dude, I ate it. I also think like half of my body went into part of the sewer drain there.
Jeez.
You know, and that kind of helped stop me. And bro, I ate it hard. Oh, it's one of those kind of accidents you never forget, you know?
I skated in college. We went down, you know where that big Episcopal church is downtown? You know that hill?
I think yes, yeah.
Yeah, downtown Lakeland. I hit that curb.
Ooh.
That was one of my scariest moments. But I stopped skating like probably like my junior year.
Yeah, every now and then, that's true. A part about life is every now and then you get an accident or you do something that like you do not forget about.
No,
like real. You don't forget that pain. You know?
I flipped a truck.
You flipped a truck?
Like
you were in a truck.
I flipped a semi truck.
No way.
Yeah, you know, like one of the not a semi, but like one of those Penske like rider trucks.
Yeah,
I flipped one of those in like 2016.
How?
It was in your favorite state, Georgia.
Yeah.
You know where Americus, Georgia is?
Yeah.
So we were heading from Macon.
Okay. Yeah.
And we had one more week of camp left in Gulf Breeze, Florida, and I hit a back road too hard. Because I didn't see the stop sign.
Yeah.
And we drive in caravan style, if I'm using that
Right.
correctly.
Yeah.
So there's 2 vans and 2 rider
Penske trucks. Yeah.
And I was in the second one, so I was following somebody, and I didn't see that they had turned because he drives fast, and so I whipped it to try to make the turn because everybody else was following me right into a ditch.
No way.
Yeah, it flipped.
Were you like buckled up and everything?
I was buckled up. I had 2 friends with me in the truck. This was actually insane. So, my window was up, but we flipped into the ditch. We flipped over. We didn't like tumble or anything.
Yeah.
We flipped into a ditch, and
were you like upside down?
We
like
were on the side.
Yeah,
so I was driving, so the truck was flipped on my side, and my arm was trapped underneath the door.
Oof.
So the listeners won't see this, but that's where all these come from.
Oh, dude.
These scars.
Yeah.
Well, I know how I got these scars.
These scars, yeah. This is why we got to add video part to this podcast someday.
But they have to like bring a. So I guess when you're in an accident like that, I couldn't. The girls that were with me, they were able to get out like, totally fine. They had to like kick the windshield
door open,
out, and climb like literally on top of me to get out. And I was trapped underneath, and they had to like get these airbags, the EMTs, and they pumped the truck up to lift me out. And then they brought me to the hospital in Americus.
That is wild, dude.
That's
got to be such a, because those things are huge, dude.
Bro, they're humongous. They don't even. I think they hire drivers now.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that because I have driven the largest U-Haul truck ever, and I think that's comparable, right?
Yeah.
Like the largest U-Haul is a Penske truck, right?
Correct. Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's like 36 feet or
which, dude,
26 feet,
also
something like
you
that.
should have to. This is a whole tangent too. But like you should have to have a license for something like that, dude. I remember driving. We were moving somewhere, doing something, but I just got the largest one possible, and I remember driving that thing and being like, I am so underqualified to drive this. I was going down South Florida, like kind of towards like, kind of towards like Northern Lakeland.
Right.
And I was like, dude, these roads feel tiny.
Dude,
so like,
anything that far up off the ground doesn't, I rather somebody drive every time.
Yeah, 100%. My parents have like an RV, and I was talking to my dad about it, but I didn't realize you don't have to have like for most RVs, you don't have to have a special like license. It's just these dudes going off and buying an RV, this like huge, massive vehicle, and they can just drive it.
Thing or like a weight thing?
I think I think it's a weight thing. Yeah, I think there's a certain weight. But dude, those things are massive on the road, and you can just be a regular old driver and drive one. Pretty wild.
Not good.
Not good. Dude, well, what's cool about today's podcast is I think this is my first podcast where we're actually, this episode that we're recording today is coming out tomorrow. Crazy. So as of us talking, when people are listening to us, we are talking right now in the day of TikTok being banned and unbanned.
Crazy.
And then you are listening to this on a national holiday and a presidential inauguration. So just so much going on, dude.
So today we have one president. By the time you listen to this, we'll
have another president. That's actually crazy. Yeah. That's like when you're on the road trip and you're like, look, I'm in 2 states, you know? Yeah. We have 2 presidents in this whole thing going on. Do you have TikTok? Did you see the ban thing today?
I was on there last night.
Yeah.
I was trying to get my last scrolls in, but like
the last bit.
10:40.
Yeah.
Boom. Sorry. Can't help you anymore. So.
That's crazy. Yeah. It's crazy how quickly they got it back too.
Yeah.
You know?
It almost makes you wonder, like, what's really going on here?
Well, was it really a ban? Like, yeah, it's because I mean, everybody saw that too. I think today it came back. It was like, thanks to, new president Donald Trump and all that, we're able to be back. It's like, yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. With all the, I'm not going to talk too much on the big tech guys because I don't really know how much is going on besides what I've seen on like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter and whatnot. But yeah, for Donald Trump to become the president, that saves TikTok. It just seems very, very convenient.
Seems very convenient. Yeah. How old are you again?
I'm 30. I just turned 30.
30. Okay. So we're only like 3 years apart. I'm 30 or no, wait. I'm 32. Okay. Gotcha. That's right. I'm 32.
Gotcha.
Dude, my wife just turned 33. I'll be 33 next. But so I'm only 2 years apart, dude. But it's crazy is like I think about it this way. Like when we were younger, I imagine like for presidents, the big tech wasn't big tech, like there wasn't all this stuff going on that I'm sure presidents had to consider.
Right.
And now today where it's like, like Facebook and all this stuff, they actually do matter a lot, and they sway a lot of people's opinions in certain things,
I think wasn't Obama the first president to use like social media to his advantage?
Yeah,
like,
probably.
During the 2008 election.
Yeah, which is crazy. Is that's not that long ago.
No,
that's super recent.
2008 was like 16 years ago. Am I tripping?
25, 15, 2. So 17 years ago.
17,
there we go. We were close, dude. Everybody just got to hear some math happen in real time.
Great math going on over here.
Oh, man. Yeah. Dude, I remember, I told this to somebody else. Remember, like, I was in college and I had a class that was like intro to tech or something like that. This was the first school that I went to, but before it was like Southeastern.
Gotcha.
I had intro to tech, and one of my assignments was I had to create a profile on all the social media sites at the time.
Gotcha.
And so I had to create a Twitter and like make a tweet. I had to create an Instagram, and which I had none of these, dude, at the time. And then I had to create a Facebook, and I had to create, I think MySpace was the thing that was already out for a while, and that wasn't included.
MySpace was big before all of those.
Yeah, MySpace was big before all those things. And then I think maybe I had to like create a YouTube channel and post something. But the only one that really stuck with me for a while was Instagram. Like I kept that one for a while.
Sure.
And then all the other ones, I was just like, it's kind of forced on me to have social media, you know?
Where did you go to college first before?
Columbus State University.
Columbus State.
Yeah. Not a huge school, but it's in Georgia. Good. Yeah. So I went there for a little bit, but that was my like intro to social media.
Gotcha.
It's like, hey, you have to have all these now.
I remember our classes, Charlie Dawes always had an admin make a Twitter account for each of his classes to tweet out notes. He was really into like microblogging. That was the first time I seen somebody like use Twitter outside of what Twitter was being used for at the time, which was like sports updates and news and stuff. So.
Yeah. No, I remember when I moved to Southeastern, I had to get Twitter back because student leadership used it a lot for like, hey, we need everybody in this space, and they could send out a tweet and it would go directly to your phone. Like if you had to like subscribe to their tweets or something like that. Now there's a lot better ways to do that.
Yeah, like a group chat.
Yeah, like a group chat or Slack or something like that. But yeah, dude, it was Twitter all the way. I don't even use that anymore. Do you use X or Twitter or Threads?
I'm trying to get into Threads, but Threads is in a weird place. At least my algorithm, it's like almost like fake networking.
Yeah.
My Threads it's trying to be Twitter and it's trying to be LinkedIn at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's only being met with criticism from people in those fields talking about, can y'all talk about something else? Or like black and white photos aren't supposed to look like this. Like stop promoting this bull crap and stuff like that.
Dude, so, I was on it for like all of like a week and I was like, this is not really keeping my interest.
You talking about Threads?
On Threads, yeah.
I joined for the hype. I peep every now and then. I like the way it integrates with Instagram.
Yeah.
Like how you can easily like share something you saw on Threads on like your story, or even you can like see a thread like on your feed on Instagram every now and then.
Yeah.
So I think that's cool, but it's still missing a lot of things. Like like a Threads group chat would be nice. And if you like share a Instagram video to Threads, it shares a link instead of like the actual video, and that just feels like a missed opportunity to like make it.
Maybe I gotta check it out again. Yeah, it's definitely been a minute. Well, dude, I'd love to talk to you about too, like just kind of what you've like. Obviously, since I've known you, I feel like a lot of what you've been into is like video world and videography and things like that. And so, maybe talk to us a little bit about how you got started in that whole space,
dude. I wanted to be a YouTuber.
Oh yeah.
In high school,
Who was your like? Who did you look at and you're like, this? I want to be just like this person. Who was your like motivation?
It's a lot of crazy people that wouldn't be appropriate.
Yeah.
But one of them, they're called Wong Fu Productions. That was kind of like a start. They were making like narrative films.
Okay.
Predominantly like within like the Asian community. But their films, they were only on YouTube, and they were so good. Like they were filmed not like a vlog. Like there was a lot of like collaborative YouTube channels that weren't making narratives like that.
Yeah.
So that was one. Two, Donald Glover, aka Childish Gambino.
Yeah.
He had a channel called Derek Comedy with some guys that he started in college at NYU. And so they always have some funny bits going out and stuff like that. And so I've always wanted to, and like on top of that too, like just like in general, like TV, watched a lot of like crime shows. I thought I was going to be like part of like NBC one day, shooting like Law and Order and stuff like that. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. And then I filmed a whole bunch of stuff before I even started college, and I took my first like film class and I deleted everything.
Oh, really?
I was like, this is actually insane how much I don't know.
Wow.
So
what was one of the things that stood out maybe? Like, oh, I didn't even realize this.
Dude, sound.
Yeah.
I had no idea how far sound will take a movie.
Yeah.
I think this is going to be a misquote from George Lucas, but he says sound is 50% of a film. I'm not even sure if he was the first person to say that, but that's the like almost the first thing I learned. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
my sound is garbage.
Well, dude, it matters a lot. Like I think about it, obviously, for the podcast sake too.
100%.
Like one of the things I wanted to try to get right early on was like a good like sound setup.
Yes.
Because you could have like a really great, episode.
Yeah.
And then somebody listens to it and it's like just kind of garbage audio. It's tough to listen
100%.
to. And it could be great content, but they just can't get through it because of the sound.
100% content in general, whether it's a film, Instagram video, like as long as the audio's good, like it really doesn't matter like how it was filmed. Like that comes secondary, but I can't stand listening to something that sounds trash.
Yeah.
So,
it's tough. Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, the crispier the audio, the better. And I try to tell people that all the time too.
Yeah.
It's like, especially like with a podcast, like podcasts, yes, they benefit from video.
Yeah.
The video's a luxury though. Like you have to get the sound right first.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, I think that's, I'm kind of, this show is a baby in the grand scheme of things of like podcasts, so sure. I don't want to speak as someone who's been doing it for too long, but I've just seen like, I think the ones that do also have a great video presence have figured out the audio part.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to do. Yeah, you're right. It is hard to do that back because it's like, if you just don't think about your audio, then your episodes that you're putting out on like Spotify, Apple Music, whatever, are difficult to listen to, as well as the stuff you're putting on social media. So you're kind of like hurting yourself in both places, you know?
100%.
Yeah.
So
you notice that things like sound were like huge.
Yeah.
After that class.
Yeah. So sound being like number 1, 2. I didn't know anything about anything like camera wise, focal lengths, like anything like, or like even really like basic like storytelling.
Yeah.
So yeah, just like I felt embarrassed.
Got it. Yeah.
And I don't come from a family of like creatives either. And so I really needed to like get this right.
Yeah.
So I don't go home.
Yeah.
Or like drop out of college or something like that. So I studied film for 3 years. And then my senior year, I opted out of the film program to just do like regular communications degree. Yeah. Which is basically the same.
Got it.
Everything's a comm degree and then you have like your concentrations in my experience. So,
yeah. So you were still focused on similar areas,
right?
Like in that,
I needed to get out of my capstone.
Got it.
And that's the truth, because like the capstone took up so much of your time, and by that point, I wasn't sure if I was gonna stay in like the film world because I had just moved into like marketing.
Got it. Yeah,
as a student. So I was in the marketing department for Southeastern.
Yeah.
The student team.
Which had a lot of carryover, right? Like you were doing video for marketing.
Correct,
and all that.
Yeah. So I learned a lot in marketing and in my classes at the same time.
Yeah.
And so it was at a point where like I had to choose between, getting a scholarship to do video work for the school or be an RA. And I was really torn, but like at the end of the day, I was like, nobody grows up to like want to be an RA.
Yeah, sure.
That's
actually great. Yeah,
shout out to all my RAs though. And it was a way bigger scholarship too. Like I mean, like close to free housing about the point when I was doing an interview for that.
Yeah. But that is smart though. I do think like what you got to do, like as a student in the marketing department, is so helpful because you got like obviously there's a piece, right, that college is helpful, doing classes and all that, but the actual like hands-on experience, like, hey, this is like me giving you a project and you executing it, fulfilling 100%. It, and like delivering it to us at a reasonable time and it being worthy of a college to this size. that's a huge learning lesson.
Yeah,
you know?
and it definitely it set me up to where I think I am now, just as far as like a professional. And like, so I did my internship like in that department.
Yeah.
And I opted out of going to LA
Mm-hmm.
for a couple of reasons. One, I was really scared of debt.
Yeah.
I was already looking at the numbers I was doing for my regular 4-year, and then just looking at the internship program that they were offering for that, because I came to the school for that internship. Like that's how
really?
they got me. I was like, I'm gonna come to Lakeland, and I'm going to LA in 4 years, like, no doubt. And then with like growing up and maturity and all that, like,
Did you have to do an internship with your degree? So it was like you had to do one somewhere.
you had to, and I think that's most comm degrees too. Like whether it's a radio station, a movie set, or something like that, or like something related to what you're studying. Like you have to get like a certain amount of hours in. So and I was blessed enough to have an internship that was also paying me as a student worker.
That's helpful, no doubt.
So I was able to milk my my connections through that, and that eventually turned into a full-time job at the school as well.
That's great, dude.
So
yeah, I'm sure LA sounds nice for somebody that's like wanting to get into that, but I imagine like even now, like movies are being made everywhere. Like I feel like it's exploded way beyond LA. Like Atlanta has so many movies happening, you know,
100%.
and North Georgia and that area and Canada and all that.
Dude, I'm talking like Tyler Perry opened up a huge studio in Atlanta. Dan Cathy, a lot of people don't know this.
The Chick-fil-A guy.
Yeah, Chick-fil-A guy. He owns like a lot of those sound stages that Marvel uses.
Yeah.
So they're like he's getting a check.
Dude,
so, on top of the chicken, he's getting a check. So
he's got it figured out.
Yeah, he has the shovel in his gold mine. But yeah, they everybody, you can make a movie. And that brings me back to YouTube. And YouTube is so interesting because a lot of people will say, I will also say that like I didn't need my degree. But I did need the connections. And to a degree that was worth it. I think there's always room for improvement as far as like the program goes and whatnot.
I know what you're saying too. Yeah. I think to your same point, like I feel the same way about my college degree, where I'm like, they're like the relationships that I made along the way, the people that I met, in a handful of the classes that I took, I think like really helped shape and affect who I am today.
100%.
I think there was a lot of them. Also, in the same regard, like a lot of those classes and certain things that I had to do that I think were less for me and maybe more so just being able to check off like, okay, Alec did this. I took 100%. This class or whatever. Dude, I took the dumbest class I've ever taken, not at Southeastern, so it's, you know, they're free. But at my other school was archaeology. Oh. And I thought it was
like
going to
collecting rocks.
Yeah, I'm sure I'm sure they would say there's more to it, but I thought it was going to be like just an easy class because like I had to have some kind of elective and it was available. And I remember getting in there one day and getting handed a test, and I'm trying to describe this for an audio podcast, but it was just a sheet of paper with drawings, not even actual pictures, but just drawings of vases with different designs. And it just said, list the vases from oldest to newest. I was just like, I failed it completely because I had zero idea. But yeah, dude, the dumbest class I've ever taken. But all to your point, all I'm trying to say is I get what you're saying.
What did you study?
At Southeastern? Yeah. Church ministries.
Church ministries, gotcha.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So I had that. I also got my master's degree at Southeastern though too.
Okay.
Which I got a
business administration.
Yep, MBA. Yep.
Gotcha.
Did that in a year, which was wild.
That sounds brutal.
Yeah, they had like a special track for for like GAs and like people that wanted to like get it done in a year. It was definitely brutal. And we were planning our wedding all at the same time.
Oh, wow.
And I should say Madeline was planning our wedding all at the same time. But yeah, dude, I don't know if I'd recommend doing it in a year, but it's possible.
What do you think about higher education these days in 2025? Like,
Yeah.
Even like private education. Like,
That's
where
a
do you
good,
think we are?
Yeah, good question. I feel like, I don't know. The way I think about it too, which maybe you do since you're a dad now, is like, I think from the way it's all going, like when my sons get to that age, I'm just curious if I will feel like they have to go to college, you know?
Right.
I'm curious if I'm going to feel like, oh, no, it's like not an option. You know, especially with how much people are spending. My big issue, I think, is how much people are spending to go to college to then not be able to get a job that's in that field for so many years. Because you need because every place is saying, oh, well, we want 3 to 5 years experience.
Right.
And it's like, the only way to get experience is to be in this corporate. But if you were to have started rather than going to college, I'm just going to use Publix for an example, you know, nothing against Publix, but like if you were to have foregone college, and not saying you should do this, but foregone college and start as a bagger and then work there, you can move from bagger to deli to, you know, the bakery to the meat market to like, you know, maybe, and then into corporate, and you can move up from there within Publix,
right,
as opposed to, because I actually did this. I got my master's in business degree. I graduated, and then I tried to apply to Publix several times, but it was like really hard to do, mostly because they also hire from within.
Yeah, the experience versus education is super interesting, especially in the film world, because they don't care where you went to school. They want to know if you're gonna drop a camera,
Sure,
or if you can like I'm blanking, create an appealing image and tell a story.
Yeah.
So,
well, they want to see what you've done. It's
Right.
I don't care what class you sat through.
Exactly.
Like, what can you do? Yeah.
For example, I really wanted to go to Full Sail.
Yeah.
Because they were selling a dream of like you will be in the film industry, and like talking to film guys who know people from the Full Sail, they're like, yeah, those guys thought blase, like they don't even know how to like load film into a RE. So it's like
Really,
stuff like
yeah.
that. And also like that's another example. This is why I was thinking about like higher education, because you said you did your MBA in a year.
Yeah.
Basically, at least at the time, this would be like 2012. Full Sail, their model was like you get a 4-year degree in 2 years.
Yeah.
But you're paying for a 4-year degree. So
Right.
it was like $80,000 off rip, but you're done in 2 years and you get all this experience from all these different professionals and whatnot.
Yeah.
So, and like it brings me today, because like I'm still a student. I am always on YouTube.
Yeah.
And every time I get on YouTube, I'm like, dang, like everything I ever needed to know is sitting right here in front of me.
Yeah.
And so I think about school in that way. It's like, well, one, these YouTubers didn't exist when I started college because they were all also like trying to figure out this film thing.
Yeah.
But two, like the accessibility of knowledge now is so vast. Like you can learn anything.
Yeah.
I think because I'm in healthcare now. Like that's where most of my film work is being done. For sure, you need to go to college.
Yeah.
If you're gonna be a doctor.
Yeah.
I'll put that up there. I'm sure I can think of a couple more, but that's definitely the first one that comes to mind. Everything else, though, I'm like, if you can't learn it in like a couple of YouTube videos, then go out your way to find something else.
The amount of knowledge out there is like, that's the unique thing about the day in which we live. Like I remember, I mean, you do too. Like it's pretty easy for me to remember being a kid and like not having the internet or just getting the internet.
For sure.
And it being like, it wasn't even that easy of a thing to access. So it's like, not like you used it that often.
Right.
You just had to like go off of people's word, you know, like this is how long a mile is or whatever, you know, it's like, this is just like, it's all a good guess, you know?
Yeah.
Now it's like, dude, like today, like taking some medications this year as I'm trying to get through some sicknesses and all that. But like, I can look up like, hey, can I take this medication with this medication and how much like caffeine should I avoid? And I can figure all that out in 2 seconds.
Yeah.
Dude, and with AI,
yeah, bro.
AI does.
We could talk about chat.
Yeah. AI writes a lot of my stuff now, dude.
Dude.
Yeah.
Do you remember Wolfram Alpha?
No, I don't think so.
Does that sound familiar at all? It's like, it was like
explain it to me.
It was like it was AI before AI, but it was just for like math problems.
Oh, okay.
It was, but you would just like copy and paste a math problem and then solve it right there. Like you can do it right on your phone.
When did that come out? Was that a long time ago?
Probably like 2013.
Wow.
Okay. Because I was still in high school. I was just graduating high school, and it was making rounds.
Yeah.
Like
dude, I wish I would have known about that. What we did was like, you know, those like old, the Texas calculators?
Yes.
There was like a space in them where you could save like a note or whatever.
Oh, wow.
We would just go through and put all the answers in that note and save it and then go to that and have the calculator open, you know?
We were using Snapchat for that.
Really?
Like we would use Snapchat to like cheat on tests and whatnot.
Dude, yeah, we couldn't have our phones. I went to a pretty small like private school. So,
okay, gotcha. I graduated with like 700 people.
Dude, I graduated with 17.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, very different. Small school, dude.
Where are you in Madeline with private versus
teaching,
school?
like schooling?
Yeah.
That's a good question. We are, honestly, man, we'd love to. I think there's so many benefits now. And so, like, again, like everything's so accessible. We really are interested in homeschooling.
Okay.
It's just different, right? Like I think when I was growing up, I always thought as the homeschool kid as like the
weirdos,
like the weirdos, you know, like like not very social and all that kind of stuff. But dude, some of the kids today that I've met that are like homeschool kids are just like phenomenal, dude. Like they're getting out of school early, you know, they've crushed through school. They are like able to do things that they're interested in. Like, that's what I think about. I'm curious, like, does a kid need to sit 8 hours for a day or however long?
A long time.
In different classrooms learning stuff, or it's like, can we actually like figure this out in a way where it's like, cool, he can get this stuff done at his pace during the day. And then if he's really like right now, my son's really interested in soccer. So like if he's interested in that, dude, let's take some time. Let's go. He can go practice every day. Because like that's how kids become, you know, that's how kids become like pros and whether it's, you know, an instrument or a sport or things like that is that 10,000 hours thing, you know,
how do you think COVID played a part in the people homeschooling?
I mean, that's probably part of it. That's probably like people like just took that advantage of that and said, hey, we're just going to stick with this. And the kids that are like, you know, kids that were just already sociable, like there's a piece that you got to keep at that, you know, like you still got to be sociable. You still got to go out there and do sports and things like this. But like now you can do this at your own pace. I feel like it's probably huge.
You think, bless you.
Excuse me.
You think remote is here to stay?
I hope so.
Me too.
I work remote now and, dude, I hope so. I've seen a lot of businesses coming back though. Yeah. Have you seen about that? Like this year, like a couple businesses starting to make their way back into the offices. A lot of
promise like hybrid stuff going on or like remote, but you have to be in this city.
Excuse me. Yeah, I feel like what I've seen from like studies and stuff that I've read is that people end up being more productive for their company though when they're remote. Like when they're able to have the freedom to do stuff on their own time, then they're actually like more likely to stay longer and to be more productive.
Right.
So I don't know. Are you remote or do you work?
I'm like
hybrid.
Half and half.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely hybrid. I mean, with the nature of my job, I guess some people would call it on call.
Yeah.
So if I need to shoot, like I have to.
You have to be there. Yeah, I got you.
I can't do that remotely. But for the most part, remote. And then I have an office downtown too.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you get to do this for work. Obviously, like part of this is like the video you get to do for work, but I know there's a lot within you that's like more like passion projects and things like that. Is there anything kind of coming up for you that you're currently working on or dreaming about? Or
working, dreaming. Whenever I can find a chance to sit down and like do stuff like this. Right now, the dream. I'm still trying to figure out the words for it, but I really enjoy helping people figure things out.
Yeah.
In their digital space. So right now I look at, okay, what are the things I can do? I can film and I can, to a degree, provide structure to what somebody's doing. Not necessarily presenting myself as the hero to their situation, but more so like enhancing an experience. So right now, I'm trying to promote myself kind of like as a producer of some sort, whether that's video or even like idea creation, whatever you want to call it, ideation.
Well, like, it's like helping people bring out what they've been, what they've been dreaming about. Yeah.
I'm helping people make it make sense.
Yeah.
And so I do that with a couple of folks, not paid yet, but I know one day it'll come. And even if it doesn't, like, I know I have fun doing it with people that I like to work with. So,
well, that's key, dude. And what's crazy, I feel like I've heard from most people or friends, like friends we have that run another podcast too, is like you start doing something for fun or just like this is like your passion project. And at first it's just like, it's not like a paying thing or whatever.
Right.
But you grow it and it becomes something that's actually like people take notice of and it benefits, you know, and
100%.
And it'll get to that point for sure where it is. Hopefully it is like a paying full-time thing.
And you never know who knows who as well. I'm sure there's a lot of things I should have said yes to.
Yeah.
But in my heart, I felt like I should have got paid for it. And so I didn't. And I probably missed out on a lot of good opportunities that way. And so I'm trying to come back to that.
For sure.
And just saying yes to it. Kind of like, and I said this to my wife and a couple of friends the other day too. It's like, if I could be an intern right now, I definitely would.
Yeah.
Like I love being around people that I want to be like, but now I have a child and a house. And being an intern doesn't pay the bills and keeps a roof over our head.
Well, dude, a similar story from someone who's been on this podcast before. Do you know Jen Spur from Born and Bred?
Yes.
Yeah. So she was on the show kind of early on. But part of her story was that, I think this was before kids, but her and her husband were married, trying to figure it out and just kind of going past, like she obviously found out that she had like a love for baking and all this. And she basically was told like, hey, if you want to do this right, like there's this internship down in Miami you got to do. And so she went for it, dude, like being married, like having a house, all that kind of stuff, went full in for this internship to really dive into the art of, baking bread. And I mean, we see where she's at today, obviously, with Born and Bred and all that. So it's hard. I mean, obviously having a kid and having like responsibilities and stuff like that, maybe the internship isn't the thing, but there is like, hey, even just stepping out, I feel like, and taking on a new creative responsibility and telling people, hey, I'd love to help you make this a dream. Like, how could we get that started? You know?
100%. And I think outside of the internship, I think something that's really important to me right now is mentorship, because I think that's pretty close to just like learning from somebody that's in the season you want to be in, or in the season that you're in now and you're trying to navigate too. So I've been trying to be really intentional with the people around me and who I have, who am I in the room with?
For sure.
especially like as a dad, as aspiring filmmaker, as a quote unquote, I don't want to say content creator, but somebody that creates content.
Yeah.
Especially for other people.
As a content creator. Yeah.
A very amateur graphic designer.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So yeah, just trying to stay sharp.
Yeah.
I want to stay sharp. Because I think if I stay sharp, I'll be able to help the people that come along the way that are also looking for those things too. So, yeah, I'm trying to stay in the room where it happens.
I love that. Yeah. What would you say to people listening that are, because I think that's a huge thing. Maybe as we're kind of wrapping up here in a little bit, like having a mentor, like I think there's a lot of people out there who were saying, I wish I had somebody who I could reach out to talk about, like that's in the space that I want to be in. What would you recommend to people that are just like trying to find a mentor or to take those steps towards getting somebody like that in their life?
Yeah. What would I say to myself? Because I'm still, I want to say I'm still on the hunt, but like, honestly, the more I think about it, there are some people in my life that I would consider mentors, in several spaces, fatherhood, film, even faith. But, I would say you have to show up, because more times than not, mentors are doing the thing that you want to do. And they probably don't have time to like halt that thing to teach you. So it's more so like learning through observation.
Yeah.
Learning life through observation.
That's so good.
That's really specific to film as well. Like, I have, Andy McIntyre is, this is going to be a surprise to him, but I would consider him one of my mentors, just the way, because he has 2 boys, and he runs a film company here in town. Great film company,
yeah.
And a coffee shop. And so he's a tried and true businessman, and a father. And, we don't talk often, but when we do, I soak it all up, because I know that's where I want to be. And that's who I want to be for somebody in my predicament as well.
For sure. Well, that's even what you said is so good, because it's also setting proper expectations of what a mentor is.
Right.
Like there's probably 1% of people out there that will get so lucky to have someone that has the ability or the desire, whatever, to spend every waking moment with you to help you get this right.
Right.
The reality is that the 99% of us are also living out our lives and doing our jobs.
Yes.
And we want to be able to be like for him, like being a light to you. It's just like, hey, you gotta show up. Like, I like what's on this guy's life. I love how he fathers, how he leads his business, how he does all this. It's like, I just want to try to find out how I can be in his space whenever I can, you know? Like, there's people like that for me who I only see every now and then. And when I do, it's like super life building, but I don't get that every week, you know? Right. And I don't think that's a great expectation to have anyways, you know?
Yeah. And also, like, I have my own responsibilities too.
Yeah.
It's really up to me to be intentional with those moments I do get, and then apply them when they're not around. Because I do feel like some people really lean super like heavily on their mentorship or like their mentees and whatnot in order to make their life happen. But like it's still your life. So you really have to like make it your own and then become that person that you needed when you were that young or in that stage of life too. So
100%, man. Well, dude, I've loved this. As we do with this every show, with 1 more minute left, what is maybe something you'd love to leave with everybody listening as we head out? Maybe just like a word of encouragement, or, you know, how can they keep up with you too?
Oh, how they can keep up with me. Okay, 1 more minute. Oh, I get it now.
Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah. It's clever.
That's a great outro. if you're listening to this and you're in college, I don't want you to think that you're wasting your money. I really do think college was a very special time in my life, and I really wouldn't change that for the world. I would encourage you to take your internship very seriously, because that is going to make or break if you can pay off your debt or not at the end of college. Manners will get you further than your skills. Be a good person.
That's great. Yeah.
Be nice to your customers, to your employees, and to your leadership. And I think that's it. Yeah. Find a mentor early.
There we go.
100%.
Dude, I love it, man.
Early.
Well, cool, man. Well, thanks for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.